007.
Yo, what up, everybody? It's your man, damednydc. Two mics up, and we coming around the bend, man. Season 4 is closing out, but I'll be remiss by not having, someone of today's ilk, if you will, sitting down, rocking with us, man. Because a lot of times, there are a lot of dope things out here in this world, and there's a lot of dope talent out in this world. Today's person is that dope talent that probably many of us have no idea exists. And when I say dope, I'm talking about dope from a literary perspective, if you will. We're talking about an author, a writer, a number one best-selling author. She's a blogger, she's a mentor. And sis really is all about, the best way I can say it, like she really has a great pen game when it comes like to adult urban fiction, and literature for children of color. And here too, Mike's up, that's what I'm all about. What our platform is all about is really about taking time to highlight those who look like you and I. Because that's the future. It's really important that people understand that all things are possible. Now, I didn't spilled long enough, I think, and I'm going to bring, to the other mic today that's going to be sitting here with me, author KL Hall. KL, how you doing today, sis? How's everything going on with you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, not as excited as I am, and I hope I did you justice. You
No,
know,
it was great.
okay, because digging in to your background and really, trying to really get a great understanding of who you are. You're doing so many amazing things, and you've done so many amazing things. And before we really get into your work, I always like to open up and really ask, who is KL Hall the person? Who is she when she's not rocking that pin game?
Yeah, so when I'm not writing, I have a 2-year-old, so she is very active and she keeps me on my toes at all times. So when I'm not doing stuff with her, I do enjoy just kind of trying to give back in the writing sense as far as writing the blogs or creating pre-made book covers or other digital resources for authors that will kind of help them along in their journey.
Mm. And that's really important. I can only imagine that's the behind the scenes work a lot of us don't really see.
Right.
But you know, transitioning, like you said, so now that you've become a mom and you're working and staying on your toes in that aspect, curious to know though, what was it that got you interested in writing and becoming an author?
I like if you ask my mom, she'll be like, "Oh, you picked up a pencil when you were 18 months," and like we kind of just knew, and I was like, "What?" Um, but so like when I was younger, I was like always writing stories, whether it was in school or at home or anything like that. But it was not until the summer after I graduated college that I actually got into self-publishing with Amazon.
Mm. And self-publishing, like talk about, so like how much really goes into like the self-publishing and really creating, your thoughts, like taking your thoughts and your ideas, putting it to pen and paper, and then publishing. Like, how does that whole process really work? And how do you get into that mode of writing your stories?
It's a lot of moving pieces. I'll say self-publishing, like it takes a lot out of you. You have to put a lot into it because not only are you the author, which is just writing the stories and figuring that out, but once you're done, now you have to be the formatter. Now you have to be the graphic designer to come up with your
Mm,
cover or your marketing. And now you have to be a marketer to figure
mhm,
out where to find your audiences. So it's a lot of work. You have to do a lot of research, a lot of reading.
mm,
It's a lot of trial and error. You know what I'm saying? But once you do find your tribe, I think that, it does get a lot. easier as you continue to go along. But at first it's scary, it's a lot of work, a lot of it's easy to get overwhelmed,
Mm,
just thinking about all the moving pieces that go
right.
into it. But the reward, at the end when you're holding, your work in your hand, right? Like,
Hmm.
it's worth
It's got to
it.
be the it's got to be the best feeling in the world
Yes,
to really watch your creation come to life, if you will.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Eh, I'm curious because I'm listening all of that, from start to finish, and putting all of it together. Somewhere in there, and most of us, I would think, doing this now, or writing, or becoming an entertainer, or so, there had to be some type of inspiration, or a person who maybe resonates as an inspiration to you as an author, that really continues to drive you. I'm curious to know, KO, like, who is that person or persons that maybe is your biggest career inspiration?
Yeah, I don't know that I can say it's just like one person, but I think there are a lot of people who've been writing either as long as me or as longer than me who, I look at them on social media and look up to them, and their work is amazing, and their readership and all of these
Mm-hmm.
things. So any author in the game who's, making those boss moves and, turning their books into movies and doing
Mm-hmm.
these audio, like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
taking the next step and then the next step. Like, I'm always inspired by people who are doing things like that.
And you bring up a great, because that was really going to be my one of my next questions is, we want to talk about some of your materials and things that you've written, but at the end now, like, where you are, being a number one best-selling author, writing children's books, for children of color, like, is that something that is your, I don't want to say your end goal, but an aspiration to see one of your pieces turn into a film or a
Oh yeah.
play, or has that happened
Yeah.
already?
It has not happened yet, but it's definitely on the long list of goals. Um, yeah, but I mean, like screenplays, like it's an area that excites me. I
Hmm.
don't know that I'm there yet, but if somebody's like, "Hey, girl, we love it. We want to turn this into a movie," then I am willing to have that conversation.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
it. Um, you know, in everything that you're doing, right? And I've had a chance to kind of delve into some of your pieces and some of your work, and try to get an understanding of. For me, I love to read, but I do believe that every author has like a style of writing, or a style of storytelling.
yes,
And for you, like, can you talk about maybe your writing style, or your storytelling style, and
yes.
why is it really so important for you to really, uh, I guess, use that in your message, I guess, when you're writing for others?
Yeah, so I will say, let me see if I make sure I get my tagline like right,
Okay.
right? So when it comes to like my urban fiction, urban romance stories, they really like straddle the intersection. So there's, the classic urban where it might be a
Mm-hmm.
little gritty, it might be a little rough, but
Mm-hmm.
then you still have like that romantic piece with the love and these, relationships. And it's, I just feel like my stories are representative like of the culture, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Black love, family, your friends, like I like my characters to be relatable, although it is fiction, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
okay, but just relatable. And even if you may not see yourself in the main character, you may see a family member, a cousin, an auntie, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Something that is, it it draws you
Draws
in,
you in.
and you're comfortable, like you feel home, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
so that's really important to me.
So has that always been something that really stuck with you, or came from within, or was that something that you've tried and played around with? Maybe did you try to talk maybe from outside of yourself, like maybe things that weren't relatable, or was that just something that you just always found that was your comfort zone and your hot spot, if you will, to be able to write?
Yeah, so I mean, I think at this point, and definitely in the last few years, I've definitely tried to step out of the box and write things that are different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's always going to be the main characters of color.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going anywhere. um, but I've definitely tried to mix in like a little interracial or have a white character or a white family, different things like that. Just, you're still I'm learning about
Mm-hmm.
different cultures,
Mm-hmm.
still wanting to be able to, talk about my own and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So,
And I like that you bring up the fact about culture, right? I'm curious to know for you, as the author of your pieces, how do you see, or how do you sometimes, I guess, envision your impact of your work uh, on our culture and maybe society as a whole?
so again, like I definitely think like, all my stories, I'm telling Black stories,
Mm-hmm.
again, whether you're familiar with them or not, you're going to get it through, the lens, and it may be different from yours,
Mm-hmm.
even if,
Mm-hmm.
I have female point of views, male point of views, even, down to that. But I think one of my things is, as far as impact, is like just the impact of reading. Like
Mm,
I'm excited to be a part of the reason why people like to read,
mm. That's
right? Because
that's
we
real.
know, like as a community, literacy is important,
Yeah.
right? And of course we need to all read more, and we should, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I'm not like writing textbooks or anything like that, but I do feel like I'm still telling important stories. They're entertaining, and it keeps you locked in, glued to your seat. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Yep.
on social media,
Yeah.
you're not on a
Right.
computer, like you're, locked into something that's still giving you as much entertainment as like a TV show may, or a
Yeah.
movie or something like that.
Man, I love that. That's real dope. And I that's why I'm excited. Um, want to have see a sister like yourself, um, who's very passionate about not only her work but the impact. And that's why I was asking, because the literacy aspect of it, the reading aspect of it, is very important, because I think social media is a great tool, but it really dumbs us down.
Right,
And it's, we're not spending time picking up books, or really expanding our wealth of knowledge and really our imagination. Sometimes, it's good to
right,
dream and see things through books. And social media, like I said, great tool, but it dumbs us down. And I think it's important that when a young person sees this and can see a young lady and a young woman like yourself, I want them to get your passion. I want them to see
right,
your passion, and I want them to also know, because we all, and the reason why I do this platform is because we all have stories to tell. You
right,
know,
right.
and we have such an amazing amount of talent. I want somebody to say, I can do what KL does. I want
Yeah,
to be just like her. And when I say that, it doesn't have to mimic exactly what you do, but share
right.
their story, share their passion. And that's what we're all about here today, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go away. We're going to step away for a quick pause for the cause. I want to take a moment to shout out all of our season 4 sponsors who have been here, continuing to rock with me and two mics up. So don't go away. We'll be right back after the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back fresh out the break. Sitting here and rocking with a dope artist, author, blogger, mentor. She's doing it all in the game right here in our own backyard in the DMV. Y'all got to check this sister out. And I want to actually, we talked about, KL, your style of writing, storytelling, your impact. But I want to really ask too, like, let's dive into your work and some of
Okay.
your work. Take a moment to talk about, some of your work and some of the pieces that introduce them to our audience. And I really want to ask though too though, does one or two of those stand out to you more than the others, and why?
Yeah. So okay, let's see. I started publishing in July of 2013. So it's been about 9 years.
All right now.
So I think in that time, I'm really close to 50 books. Um,
Ooh.
so
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah,
um,
man.
I mean, I've written a lot of stories. Some, I feel like they all share a place. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because
yeah.
and then like to go back and read your old work and see how far you've come and things like that. That's always just like, huh, wow, look at this. Um, but as far as ones that stand out, I will say in the last between last year and this year, I've been putting out just a plethora of different types of stories and things like that. So I will say my the Illest Taboo series. So that's a two-book um, series, and then I will also say I have a fictional place called Potomac Falls, and I created a novella series this year
Okay.
based off of characters there. So I'm pretty excited about that. So it's three books, and it's something blue, something borrowed, and then something new.
Man, I love it. So with your works, right? And putting them together. Like, are there times when you're writing, like, do you see or do you have a plan, or does it kind of come as you're writing like a series? Like, hey, I'm on to something here. Do you see it, or is that your intention, or does it just happen as you're working?
I think it just depends because I am a planner.
Okay.
So I do like I don't really have a shortage of ideas. I have a shortage of time to like
Okay.
get it all so at the end of a year I might be like, okay, what are the things that I want to put out, in the next year and start
Mm,
planning like that. So there are some things where I'm like, okay, yeah, this feels like this is going to be like a two-book series, like I can wrap
mm,
it up in two books and whatever. But for example, I put out like a short story December 1st of this
mm,
year. And I
mhm.
had no, with like zero intention, zero of putting out a part two. And then reading the reviews, people are like, oh my God, no. Like, no, like I need more. You
More.
cannot. And I was like I wasn't gonna do it. And then the idea just like bloop, and it just kept building. And I was
Mhm.
like, is this it? Like, am I like I'm excited about it, but is it as good as I think it
They
is?
did.
So I start, planning it out and jotting things down, and then I was like, oh no, this is you got to do it. So that it wasn't
Oh,
supposed to be a series, but it kind of turned into
it
one.
turned into one. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, switching lanes too, from reading uh about you and some of the things that you're working on, KL. You also talk about booked and busy digital. I see you not here. Go ahead. Just jump right in. Tell us all about it. Give it to us.
All right. So, like I said, like I've been publishing since 2013, and I started knowing absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're doing a lot of googling and a lot of reading, and things sound really hard or scary. Or you're like, I gotta get an agent. I gotta do what? I gotta write a what? Like I just thought I had to write the book. Like no. And so I was like, okay, like I said, over these years, it's been a lot of trial and error. And so I was like, you know what? Like, how, like, let me figure out how to package up the knowledge that I know because people are always in your inbox or send you a DM like, hey, I want to write this. What do you think about this? Like, can I, I don't know where to start. So I'm like, okay, like I have these blogs here. Let me point you to this blog to explain a little bit more in detail. And then like you can refer back to that whenever you need to, right? Just, put a bookmark on it. Or if you're like, oh, I'm writing a book, but I need more help with my character development or things like that. Like I have digital resources that
Mm,
I've created to teach you how to create the perfect book day or the perfect, heroine or, when we, get through the character development, well, what do we do when it's finished? What about the marketing?
mm,
So let's talk about the marketing keywords. Let's talk about, your social media promotion. What are you going to do? What's your promo plan? What's your budget?
mm,
Right.
mm-hmm.
So it's just a lot of things that I've learned over the years that I've just been able to kind of package my knowledge and all the things that I've learned into really affordable, courses, workbooks. Like I said, I do pre-made book covers and things like
Wow.
that. So if you
Wow.
are, self-publishing and you're like, "Ooh, I can't do no Photoshop too," Jesus, like. So I'm like, "Boom, girl, I got you." Like, if any of these kind of match the vibe of your story, we just put your title on it, and there you go.
Man, that's awesome. And I'm curious too. So if someone is watching this and they're interested, now that you've been on like 2013 and like you said, 50 pieces of work, yo, kudos to you. Like
Thank
real talk. That's
you.
that's dope, beyond dope. Like just in the mind frame. If someone is watching though, and if you have one piece of advice that maybe you can give to someone who's interested in becoming an author, like looking back with your knowledge now, what would you wish someone had said to you or shared with you when you first got started?
I think it's crazy. I think somebody just asked me this, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's what I'm called." Um, I would say like have a plan. I
Mm,
think that when I started, I just wanted to write the book. I had no
right.
idea about marketing or being a brand or an author. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have much thought past write the book and get it out.
Right.
So I think if writing is something that you are interested in or anything like that, I would say just start to map out a plan. And it doesn't have to be concrete,
Right.
right? But just kind of say, okay, I'm writing the book. This is when I maybe want to get it out. And then am I gonna, put in the time to create an Instagram for
Mm,
this? Or how am I gonna market it? Just like, you know what
right.
I'm saying? Like things
Yep.
like that. Because
Yep.
when I first started, I thought that you put the book out on Amazon
That
and
was
then
it.
all the people just come and just buy it.
Right. No, oops.
No, no, no,
A little
no,
more
no, no.
to it, right?
A little bit more, just a wee bit more to it. Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah,
I like that because you're obviously talented and putting in the work, and I think it's important that people do understand. It's a little bit more than just that.
right.
You don't you have to put some time, some effort, and some energy. A lot of times it's a lot of it.
It's a lot of energy.
Mm,
It's a lot of, and like, so for example, like in my course, so just kind of teaching people how to, write the book. The first thing we talk about is not like, what do you want to write? It's like, let's get your mindset right.
mm,
Because if we're not in the right mindset, this
yeah,
is going to be a really hard journey. Like, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yep.
So,
That's really important. Mindset is everything. You have to be in that space mentally uh, to focus on the task at hand, and that's generally with anything. But if this is going to be your career and something that you love,
right,
that mindset has to be there. And speaking of which, mindset. We some of us are still, but many of us are kind of at the point. I think we're coming through the backside of this pandemic,
right.
and I'm curious to know for you as an author and a writer and a blogger, if I told you or I gave you, the biggest social media platform that can reach everyone across the world, and I said, KO, give me a worldwide message, what would it say?
I would probably say, and this is to the world,
To the
right?
world, yes.
I would say to be kind
Mm,
and to read more.
okay. Uh, I,
I would
I
say.
I like that. Yeah, because we live in a we live in a challenging time now. It's very
It
different.
is. It
And,
is. It is.
and I think that that's a great message because take time to be kind. Sometimes you
Yeah,
don't know what the person next to you is going through or dealing with. And
for
I
sure.
have become that person that understands. So I might think my day or my situation is bad, but I honestly understand there are probably millions of people out here that have it far worse than
Right.
I do. And sometimes
Exactly.
a smile, a hello,
Right.
hey, how you doing, can be the difference in someone's day. So yeah, I love be kind
Exactly.
and read more. You got me with that one. I'm not even mad at that. Give it to me. Read.
Pretty important. I feel like I can't not say that as an author. Read more.
For real, for real. So as we close out, KL, this has been a great conversation, sis, and I really appreciate it. But before we close out, you know, I want to see if we can take a sneak peek or if you can share. Are there any future projects coming up in 2023 that we can expect to see from you that maybe you can talk a little bit about?
Yeah, so I'm working on the first book. I'm wrapping up the first book in a novella series that I hope to have out early 23. And then I'm also working on my first like audiobook production. So that's pretty
Okay.
exciting.
Okay.
It's like news, like the new thing. So excited about that.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The amazing KL Hall, DMV. Stand up, go represent, go out, support your sister. And you're probably going to ask, Dane, well, how do we support? Well, guess what? You about to find out. KL, take a few moments to
Yeah.
go ahead and share your social media and where we can find you at.
For sure. So yes, you guys can join my email list if you go to my website. So that's authorklhall.com, and then it'll pop up and you can give me your email so we can stay in touch like that. I might also am on Instagram, so at official KL Hall, and also on Instagram as author KL Hall, and Twitter and Facebook as author KL Hall as well.
Y'all heard it here. So you know how we do. We're going to make sure we take all that information. We're going to drop it in the show notes. Go out and support. You know, make reading not only fundamental, but understand reading is fun. Go
Yeah,
out and support KL Hall. Go grab all her work. Support, follow the sister. She's doing great things. And I look forward to more from you, KL. Please know you are now officially a Two Mics, a family member. You've been stamped. That's right. You always welcome. Come on back through. Anytime you have any new projects or anything you want to talk about, share, whatever we can do to support you. We're happy to do it here. Ladies and
thank you
gentlemen,
for the
you know
great
how we
thing.
do. Yeah, it's been my pleasure. And I look forward to talking to you some more. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap here on Two Mics Up. You know how we do. Two Mics Up is now on Mogul TV. You can go ahead and get that on your Amazon Roku device. You can see it down there at the bottom, the moguls.tv. You can get that online if you can't get it on your Amazon or Roku devices. Make sure you follow Two Mics Up online at www.twomicsup.com. You can follow us across all our social media at Two Mics Up, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you're still watching this on YouTube, that's cool. Go ahead and go down there and hit that bell. Let me, so you'll be notified by all the newest content coming to you from me here at Two Mics Up. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me a comment. Tell your friends. Share it. We're trying to hit some new subscribers there too. We ain't letting it go. We still rocking on YouTube too. But you know how we do, ladies and gentlemen, at this time. Stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out. 007.